I suddenly realised that if I want to be a property millionaire in a year, I can't wait for BRR. Because buy, refurbish, refinance, which is basically doing a flip, takes time. And I've got 12 months to become a millionaire, right? So I had to start thinking creatively.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I drew for the lease option agreement strategy.
I want to break that down now. So what is a lease option agreement?
Yeah. So
Yo, my people, welcome back to The Venture Room, the #1 platform for aspiring entrepreneurs. And today we've got a guest that's absolutely smashing it in the property game. She managed to turn 3K into a multi-million pound property portfolio. And I want to find out how she did it. But first, I'll let her introduce herself. How you doing?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
I know we started a bit late, but we'll do some good content.
Yes, we will for sure.
How's things going? How are you?
Everything's amazing. No complaints.
Yeah? I'm happy because you're actually the first female guest, so...
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. I know we didn't have the full production for you, the makeup and
No,
stuff.
I'm quite horrified that you didn't have the mirrors.
But we'll make it up to you.
Yeah,
it's fine.
for sure.
All right, so to start out, I want to kind of take it back before you started like the property business and stuff, back to like when you were younger, school and stuff. Where do you think your kind of ambition came from when you were younger?
I just think that I've always had a huge imagination. I always wanted to be a performer. I always danced and performed and act when I was younger. So a lot of my ambition comes from that desire to put myself out there.
Yeah. Because I think I first saw you actually at the Samuel Leeds crash course. I think it might be the boot camp, and you were talking about interior design and stuff like that.
Stop. Did you watch it?
But this was like 3 years ago, innit?
Did it change your life?
It was sick.
I know.
Not going to lie. There was a couple of hacks in there.
Yeah, I know. Good hacks.
It was sick. But you came across super confident.
Yes.
And you kind of held the audience. So I'm guessing you had like a dramatic background, like drama or...
Yeah, I did. I studied drama in college, but I'd done a few things like after college, like, you know, sort of theatre productions.
Yeah.
And then I just went into the working life, and that kind of took, you know, precedence over some of my dreams.
Oh, so did you want to be like an actress, or what was
I really had a passion to go to RADA. I really wanted to get into RADA.
RADA's like the biggest.
It's like the biggest. Yeah, I always go
school.
for the biggest. I never anything less than RADA or Lambda, I'm not going.
Is
So
it?
yeah, I'll be like, no, I'm not doing it
Flip.
because I want to go to the best. So I planned to go back, but life started lifing.
So this was like probably early secondary school, yeah? You wanted to like...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, so secondary school, college, you
Okay.
know, I got straight distinctions. I was like really into it. But everyone went to uni, and I was like, well, if I'm not getting into RADA,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I'm not going to just waste my money in a university that doesn't hold space like
Swear.
the best.
Mad. But you were always quite like a confident person and...
I would say, yeah.
Yeah?
I
at
would
school.
say, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, like, I was always a very over-the-top person. Like,
Okay.
you know, I think that school is quite challenging when you're an adolescent because you're
100%.
finding yourself.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily like the strongest in my class academically,
Okay.
but certainly if it came to just having a good time or performing, I was
Yeah.
always strong in that area.
Oh, interesting. Because, I'd probably say I was like, I switched a lot. So, like, I chilled with everyone, innit? So I chilled with, like, the cool kids and also the ones that no one wanted to talk to. So I was always
Nice.
in
Love
between,
that.
innit? I wasn't just, like, some people don't want to talk
Trying
to
to
certain
fit
groups.
into, yeah,
Exactly. So I was always quite adaptable. So it sounds like you were similar.
like your own person.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't following anyone.
Yeah, I was exactly the same.
Yeah. So were you weren't academically strong then, or you were?
No, I wasn't actually. No.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So did
Terrible, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, really bad.
There was not one subject you were good at? English?
I'm good at maths.
Okay.
I love English.
Yeah.
But at the time in my adolescence, I wasn't good at any of them, though. Science, none of them.
Is it?
History, no.
Wow.
I was great at performing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was it, really.
Do you know what? I find that people that did drama were quite naughty at school. Like, they find it hard to sit down and concentrate. Like, generally, that's...
I mean, I wasn't naughty.
No.
No.
Were you hard to handle?
No, not at all, no. No, not at all. I was just as naughty as everybody else, right? I wasn't like a really like bad child or anything. I was like really good, you know, like really polite and cool, but just liked to perform. That was my passion.
Oh, that's sick. Okay, so college came now, and you figured out you weren't getting into RADA, you weren't following that path. What did you think at that point? Were you like...
So I applied for RADA and I got to the final round.
Okay.
And the teacher said you need to go and get some more life experience. So, yeah.
That's rough, man.
I mean, you know what? If you can't take criticism in life, then like, how are you going to grow, right? So I really did get some life experience to the point where I haven't actually gone back to audition again. But yeah, I just started working.
What was your first job? What did you do?
I worked in a pub
Okay.
down in Camden.
So you didn't think to go the uni route then? You thought, nah?
No.
Why not?
Because I couldn't see where I fit in that demographic. I didn't want to sit down and learn something that wasn't, you know, I wanted the best. And if it wasn't RADA or Lambda,
That was it?
I'm figuring it out myself.
Is it? So it seems like you were quite all or nothing. Like you had...
Yeah.
It's either my ambition or it's nothing else. Like there's no plan B.
I was greatly introduced to laws of attraction at a young age in The Secret.
Okay.
So I believed I was going to get in, like with all of my mind. And then when I didn't, I thought, well, I have to manifest something else. And I did.
I've never read The Secret. I'm guessing.
Stop.
Never read it now.
Oh my God.
I watched a bit of the documentary, then I got bored of it.
What?
I just wasn't really...
How many years ago did you watch it?
It was just quite American, innit? Where...
It's amazing.
Yeah?
Oh my God.
What's the main, like... what is The Secret?
So The Secret is... Oh gosh, it's a lot. But
Okay.
The Secret is about the law of attraction. So like attracts like. So basically, whatever you visualize in your mind, you materialize in your life, right? Okay. So if you're somebody that wakes up in the morning, stubs your toes, complaining, moaning, next thing you know, you're going to scratch a car and you're going to have an argument with your boss and you're going to go home and have an argument with your spouse.
Okay.
But if you stub your toe in the morning and then stop and say, I'm truly grateful for having toes. Like, I'm truly grateful for being able to feel.
Yeah.
Just spinning it round to be able to shift your paradigm so that when you walk out into your life and walk out into the world, you're greeting the world with the best parts of you.
Okay.
But it's so much deeper than that. You can also create mood boards and vision boards and create a life of your absolute dreams by picking and choosing what experiences you want to have. For me, for example, I have 2 Rolls Royce and, you know, I've had them on my mood board since like 2013.
Wow.
And they manifested in my life. And that's one of so many things that have happened. So the laws of attraction is just the power of the universe. It's having a strong relationship with the divine forces that govern this whole universe. Yeah. And actually, you know, just building a strong relationship with them and allowing for yourself to do and have anything that you put your mind to. It's amazing.
I think I completely agree as well, 100%. Mindset is just key to life. But I think it's quite hard to maintain that. Like you can have your good week.
For sure.
Something goes wrong and then you go into a downward spiral. But how do you keep that going, that positive mindset?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Every day is different and every moment's different. And no one's asking anyone to be perfect. But for me, I think ultimately The Secret led me to having a strong relationship with God or the higher power or, you know, your higher self, whatever you believe. It was more about having a relationship. So when I've been on my journey, if I've done everything I can, then there's somebody else I can lean on more than myself to allow for whatever I want to manifest.
That's so good, man.
So that keeps you don't condemn yourself for having a bad day because you know that happens. But you also, maybe when you have a bad day, you've got someone to talk to and say, look, I'm having a bad day, I've tried, you know, I'll try again tomorrow, and work in a space of gratitude.
Yeah, big
because
time.
to truly manifest what you want, you have to feel it. Yeah. Like, it's not just about visualizing something or writing something down that you want. You've got to feel as if you already have the very thing that you're asking for. So if you want to have an amazing car and you're driving a car that's not so amazing, right, or not what you want, when you drive that car, instead of complaining about what you have, sit in what you have as if it is the very thing that you want.
It's true, yeah.
And
yeah.
everything will vibrate to your frequency, and you'll
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
vibrational match
Yeah.
to that which you want to receive.
That's a good point. And I think also, like, there's nothing wrong with materialistic things motivating you in the beginning. Because as long as there's a positive output, I think it's, people say, oh, why are you aspiring to get a fast car? But if that produces a positive outcome, I don't think it's a bad thing.
For sure. There's many things that you can attract. I think people, and certainly I've mentioned some of the more material things because they're the first things that spring to my mind, or that might be what people, complain about in their lives. But you can attract relationships, you can attract circumstances, you can attract events, experiences.
Big
I mean,
time,
it really is anything that you want.
It's so true, yeah. That's a good tip, actually. So going back to your story now, so you've left, you're not getting into RADA. So then what was it?
In my mind, I already have.
Yeah? Well, it's never too late, isn't it?
It's never too late.
Nah. So what was the next step for you then? What was that journey?
So I went straight into being a waitress in the clubs because I didn't think I could do like a job where I could be like a secretary or like, I didn't think that I would, get a job of any like sort of, anything to do with like academic strength. So I went into the clubs.
Okay.
And I became a waitress.
Okay. And then did you find it, was it hard at the beginning? Like, you obviously didn't know what your path was. You're working as a waitress. You're like, how did you feel?
No, it was super fun.
Yeah?
It was all about getting dressed up, being super glamorous. It was all about hair, makeup. Like, it was all about making tips. You'd make like £100 in a night, cash.
Was it in a bar?
Yeah, clubs down the West End.
Like, do you know that's my nightmare job? Like,
Stop.
dealing with drunk people when you're sober is a nightmare.
Oh my
Like,
God.
They're just so rowdy. They're just long.
Yeah.
Unless you're drunk as well, it's quite hard to.
Yeah, for sure. But then, like, it depends what position you're in, right?
True, yeah.
I feel like if you're like a really glamorous lady who's like serving bottles of champagne like Cristal and Laurent Perrier and Dom Perignon, you're having a totally different experience. You're in the VIP.
Yeah.
Everyone's spending a lot of money. Sometimes someone's giving you £500. Just for serving them. So it's a totally different lifestyle, and waiters are the same that make a lot of money in that industry. But if you're a bartender or, other aspects, which I've done, maybe it's not as fun.
I just think of like be at 100 drunk people screaming at you for drinks. Like,
I've gone through that, trust me, a million times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot.
Yeah, it's a hard job. So how did you, I'm guessing you climbed the ranks. How did you do that then? So you started as a waitress, and then what happened next?
So I started as a waitress, and I'm a very hard worker. I don't know, slightly controlling maybe. I just saw where there was imperfections, and I wanted to make sure that the service was amazing. So I became a head waitress.
Did you work harder than everyone else?
Yeah.
What made you? Yeah,
I always did.
Okay.
In any job that I've had, I've always taken it seriously, and I think that was quite rare. I don't think people expected maybe a woman that sort of looked like me or was at the age I was to be actually serious about their work, but I really was.
Yeah.
Very serious about it, and I soon became a manager, and then I was a assistant general manager, and then the general manager had to leave. I think she couldn't work there anymore, and I became a general manager at the age of 24.
Wow.
So for a few weeks.
Was that your ambition? Yeah, you thought I want to be a general manager. Okay. It just happened because you worked harder than everyone else.
I was there, and I just put the energy into that.
That's interesting. And then you're general manager now. Did you feel like this is it? I'm successful. Like,
No, I wanted to go and be an actress.
Still? So you never gave up that dream?
No, I still haven't, I guess.
Well, you can still be an actress.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's an ageless game, isn't it? You could be like 72 and just be an actress. So
you're on EastEnders, like
it's fine, yeah.
the new Dot Cotton. No.
No, darling.
All right, cool. Okay, so you're a general manager now. And then what was the next step?
I then actually went to go back into drama, but then a lot of things happened between that time, and I ended up going to another club, and being a general manager in the other club. But I found out that in that club there was a cafe that was attached to it.
Okay.
And I said to the owners, can I take the cafe and rent it and open that up? So that was my first official independent business, which is
Did you have the
called
money
Dove
then
Cafe.
saved up? How did you do
No.
that?
I just negotiated with them. I just said I'll spend a few grand doing it up, and making it look really beautiful, and then I'll just employ someone and just figure something out. I think I made some good money because at the end of the night when the club was finished, I would serve a lot of the customers that were leaving. So that kind of
So this was
gave
like
me
a
a
coffee
bit.
shop? What was it?
It was like a little sandwich shop, but it was right attached to it was attached to it. So it was empty. It was like used for like storage, you know? So I was like, well, that's a bit of a waste. So I did it up. But that was my first business, but also my first big lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any contracts between myself and the owners.
Okay.
And as soon as it looked beautiful and as soon as they could see that it was actually working, they took it off of me.
They took it off of you?
Well, yeah, pretty much were like...
But didn't you sign a contract?
No, I didn't. Because I was 24 and just
Naive.
didn't know what to do. I just knew I had an idea.
Wow.
And they didn't, they kind of...
But also there's a good tip in there, because you're working like a normal job, and you thought, okay, what problems are there that I can solve? And you thought, okay, people need refreshments. There's not anything serving them the way I could. So you solve the problem in your immediate environment.
Absolutely.
So I think a lot of people can do that at their workplace. Think about, okay, what problems can I solve,
Yeah.
kind of thing, to start.
Absolutely. I often say to my staff over the years, I've always said to them, when you come to work, you come and you represent yourself. You're not working for me. You're working for you. You are the face of the company. And at the end of the day, if you're skiving off, if you're late, if you're pretending to work when I come by but not really, you're not going to amount to much. That's a you problem. That's between you and the universe.
It's true.
But if you're giving 120% of what you're doing, listen, I was a glass collector. Well, guess what? I was the best. You couldn't collect glasses the way I collected glasses. I did everything with pride. I literally was the best glass collector. I was like a
machine.
I don't know what energy I had, you know what I mean? But I was everywhere. Like, those glasses are being collected and they're being done perfectly. But
so basically anything you do
appreciate
it.
Everything.
Exactly.
Nothing's too small for you. Who do you think you are?
That's true.
Honor what you do, respect what gift you've been given, what opportunity. There are people out there that they don't even have anywhere to live. They don't even have a job, even if they wanted one.
So true.
So whatever you have, appreciate it. And that is how you become a millionaire.
Yeah.
By gratitude, being grateful for what you do have.
That's a really good point, actually. Okay, so then this coffee shop got stolen from you, basically.
I mean, it didn't get stolen. There was no contract. So they could do what they wanted. They didn't steal anything. They just ended the verbal agreement that wasn't truly withstanding. So I appreciate everything that they did do for me. But
sure, yeah.
You know.
So how old are you now? You're about 21?
Yes, I am. I am today.
All right, cool. So what was the next step then after that?
I went to Nigeria.
Okay. Is that where you're from?
No.
Okay.
No.
So what made you go to Nigeria?
So my partner and I went to Nigeria.
Okay, cool.
And we opened a club there.
Sick.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Adesekumbo Ademola, in Chase Mall in Lagos, on Victoria Island.
Wow. I haven't been to Nigeria, I've been to Ghana.
I love Ghana, I used to live there.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing. But I lived there like when I was 8.
Okay, cool. But I didn't have any idea what it was like.
It's amazing.
It's literally crazy. I've never seen wealth like that in my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Where are you from?
I'm from Guyana, South America.
Okay, cool.
But half my family is from Ghana, innit? So my stepmom's from Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a different picture of Ghana just based on what the media was showing
Oh,
me.
it's ridiculous.
And when I went, I was like, oh, look at these houses.
It's one of the most annoying thing. Irks me all the time.
Crazy.
Mm-mm.
It felt like it could be like a Dubai in a few years where the wealth is just there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so many opportunities.
I mean, Africa is the richest, like, continent. It produces gold and diamond. Like, I'm hugely against,
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah, that one's another
Lack of
episode.
promotion. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then what was that path to you owning? Because I know you owned somewhere at one point. What was that?
So, once I came back from Nigeria, my partner and I opened a club that we still have to this day called Power in the City, which is based in the City of London, in Aldgate. And
how did you get the money for that? Did he kind of fund it or like?
Yeah, so we brought some money back from Lagos, and we also raised some money from individual investors to put into the venue.
But okay, how did you get that investment? Because it's not easy just like pitching an idea, getting money.
Well, you create a business plan, you pitch the idea.
But people are like, okay, what's your experience? I guess you were working in a bar for a bit.
I mean, your experience is what you have.
True.
Everything is transferable skills. Like, as soon as you have anything, your job could be selling products from Amazon. You have sales skills. There's no difference in asking someone for £2.50 and asking someone for 250,000.
Okay.
The words still come out the same. It's just whether the person's going to do it or not.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And you've got to convince them and, show them visually that this is going to work and these are the reasons why, and talk about your own experiences and what you've done in the industry. Nice.
Okay, cool. So you've come back from Nigeria. Who gave you the money? Was it family or was it like a random investor?
Just random investors.
Yeah, who just called them up.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then the first club,
mm-hmm.
what was it? What music was it?
Well, that's the same club. We still have it.
Okay.
That's Power in the City. So.
What kind of music is it?
It's Afrobeat. It's like the best Afrobeat venue you're ever going to find. Yeah.
I need to come there then.
You do.
Afrobeats is huge.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We've had it for 8 years now.
Wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's mad because Afrobeats kicked off when I was at uni. Like, as soon as I started uni, Afrobeats was going mad, innit?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like now it's one of the biggest genres.
Yeah, I loved it back in the day even more though.
Yeah.
I kind of preferred the kind of like less commercialized Afrobeat. It was bad. Like, when D'Banj out.
Yeah,
and,
exactly, yeah.
Those times were the best.
Yeah,
They were the
mad.
best. They were the best.
Mad nostalgic, yeah. Okay, so you got this club now. Were you happy and how did it start? I'm sure there was like some teething problems. Like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, gosh. I mean, look, there is pain and pleasure in being an entrepreneur. And you've just got to have a strong reason why you're doing it. You know what I mean? If your reason why is strong enough, then you will withstand some of the storms that come. So yeah, definitely it's been challenging for sure. Yeah.
And then that leads me to what was like the hardest point in your life? Was there like a struggle that you had, a specific moment where you thought, okay, this is like my bottom, I need to just go up, basically?
I think life happens in waves, I don't think I've ever like, I don't know, everyone's always had a low moment, I guess, but I'm a huge optimist, so even in my really low moments, I'm fueling it as like I alchemize my emotions to fuel me to do more. If I get offended by someone or I feel like I'm misunderstood, I'll have like a moment and then I will change that into my power and I'll do everything I can to prove to myself that I'm worth more than whatever that other person's ever thought or said.
Okay. So was it like a business moment where you thought this is this is getting challenging?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, what was that?
It's like all the time. It's like whatever. I've done a lot of business, so whatever business you're in, there's, highs and lows. Yeah. I've just spent the last 6 months raising £1.2 million. That in this season has been,
difficult,
really challenging.
Okay, we'll get into that one then. So okay, so you got the club. It's doing decent money. Can you give us an idea on what that was turning over, like when you first started out?
I think it's it's definitely done really, really well. We've turned over £1 million a year, so
Wow, that's good.
It's been very strong
Yeah.
and very consistent.
Wow. Because I know clubs are quite hard to run
Yeah.
operationally.
My partner is definitely the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And are you like the sales side of it or like operations?
Yeah, so now obviously and we'll get to that point of my story, but definitely like being a mum is, not allowed me to be there as much. But my position is head of HR and making sure that, the staff are doing what they need to do and being, essentially sort of training them and making sure that they're doing what they need to do in the night, which is a bit more difficult because I spend my weekends with my son now, not at,
I can imagine.
in the club, but whenever I can pop down and,
Sick.
train them in the week, I will.
That's sick. Okay, so you've got the club, it's doing well. What was that journey to starting property? Like what happened?
So that was 2020. So as you know, in 2020, they closed down all the venues.
Oh, yeah.
So being a mum and, my son being 6 months old at the time, and they closed the venue, suddenly I thought, what are we going to do, if they don't open it?
Did you start to panic or were you no?
No.
Okay.
Because I was already educating myself in the property sector because I already knew that I wouldn't be able to work as much in the evening. So let me find something that I can do where my son can be a part of it. And property was the best suggestion because you can, it doesn't matter with your child or not, does it?
True. Yeah.
You can go and view a property with your kid, it doesn't make a difference.
It's still hard though, isn't it? Juggling being a mum and building a portfolio.
I mean, my portfolio was built whilst being a mum.
Yeah, it's not easy, yeah.
It's not easy, but it's also easier than, I think, being single because once I had my son in my life, I have a really strong reason why. It's like my life begun, whereas I think prior, you kind of wasting time, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's true, isn't it?
But when you have kids,
you've got a reason to
what's the thing that you need to do.
Yeah.
And that's like secure your future.
That's amazing. I haven't got kids yet, but I can imagine it's like, the driver.
It's everything. The driver, yeah. It is. It's like next level driver. It's like more serious stuff,
Like, that's amazing.
How am I going to secure my future?
100%.
You know what I mean? In his future.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, so I obviously saw you at the Samuel Leeds crash course a few years ago, and you were amazing on stage.
Thank you.
I want to know how you got to that point. I know you were one of his first students.
I was his first student.
You were the actual first student?
The actual first.
Is it?
Yeah. I'll forever be his first ever student.
That's sick. So I want to hear that launch story of you working with him and launching your first deal. I want to hear that story.
So Samuel's a really good friend of mine that I've known for years, and he introduced me to the property industry in 2014.
Wow.
And he at the time wasn't a millionaire. I think he was making like £6,000 a month.
Okay. It's not bad money though. So.
It's not bad money, and it was great at the time, right? So that's how I became his first ever student, because it was just me, him, and about 6 other people. It's like 8 people in the room total.
So he was like a friend of the family, or like?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, take your time.
My brother, my oldest brother, he and Samuel went to church together and like did Bible studies together. So I knew Samuel like from like 2010, but he was my brother's friend. So I hadn't reached out, but it was my brother that actually navigated me to him, because Samuel, he was like, oh, Samuel is into property, and I was inquiring at that point.
Okay. So
he introduced me to the world, which was ticking on in the background of me doing other things like the club, right? So in 2020, I actually bought his training. I spent about, 15 grand or however much it is for his training.
And you got that from the club business? Or how did you have 15k to just spend? Just saved it up over time?
Yeah, it was saved. everything was on a wing and a prayer, to be honest. It was like I got a rent to rent at that time.
Oh, before
I studied.
Okay.
So I rented out the space. So I used, like, I had about £3,000 total. It's kind of many different things, but I had about £3,000 that I put into this rent to rent. I done it out. I rented it out and I got £6,000 back.
Wow.
And then I paid for some of the academy on that and some of the academy on my credit card. And then I asked some of my friends if I could do up their houses and rent out their rooms and double my money. And I used some, so it was kind of moving around. So I didn't pay it all at once. 'Cause lockdown happened, so it wasn't required at the time. It's quite lucky in that sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of, it was kind of like moving around simultaneously.
Wow. Okay. And then, so he worked with you, because I know the academy is like a mentorship program.
Yeah, so as soon as I signed up for the academy, I messaged him on Instagram, like, hey Samuel, like, it's Jael, I've just signed up to your academy, and like, basically, yeah, you're going to want to work with me, right? And he messaged me back and was like, oh my God, Jael Spooner, I've been looking for you for years. You're my first ever student. Stop. Where are you? And I'm like, I'm in South Africa at the moment. He was like, okay, as soon as you get back, you need to come to my house to meet my wife and me. And we've got to, you're my first ever student. So we've really got to, like, focus on you right now, right?
Yeah.
So I went to his house, literally landed, went straight to his house. And he said, you need to become a millionaire in a year.
Flip.
You need to learn everything, and you need to become like a millionaire in a year. You need to become a net millionaire in a year.
Wow.
So
that must have been like intimidating at the time, because
I mean, it's the best thing you could have done for someone like me. I needed
someone to push you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I needed like a focal point.
So did he increase like what you thought was possible? Like, were you aiming at the million anyway?
Well, I would come to him and I would be like, well, look, I've got enough. Like, I could just buy, this house, and, buy cheaper houses, sort of thing. And he was like, if you're going to buy a house, you need to buy a house that's going to be really much bigger than you think. So he definitely did, but also he like super believed in me. Like, he said to me, like, I know, I can see your financial thermostat, and I can see you're gonna smash this, and I believed him.
That's sick. Okay, and then what was that first deal then? So you had 3K, you did have a rent to rent already. What was the first deal with Samuel that you started?
So I refinanced my council house that I bought in 2018, and pulled some money out, and then I raised the rest. And then I bought a HMO. So I bought a house in up north. I bought a house, and I'd never done a development like this before, in like a house conversion. I'd done small things, or I'd done my clubs, which are like bars and everything that look amazing, but I hadn't done like a licensed HMO house, right? So I took this house from being worth 250 to 400,000, so 250,000 to 400,000 pounds.
How did you do that? Just converted it?
Converting it from a 5-bedroom into a 9-bedroom HMO. And that property has like it profits about £2,000 a month.
So that was your first deal with him? That's big.
It wasn't with Samuel. It was by myself.
That was your first deal? Wow. So you
Yeah.
started big? Wow. Because usually people start with rent to rents, they get maybe 4 or 5, then they build up to...
Yeah, I'd kind of been dabbling in that prior, in my own way.
Sick, wow.
But yeah.
9-bed HMO, okay. Can you break down the numbers on that? Like, what were you spending versus what were you making?
I mean, to purchase it, I had to put down 25% of 250. And then you have stamp duty on top of that, which I think was like maybe, 20. I can't remember, to be honest.
Okay.
I've done so many since then. I can tell you more about the recent one. And then the refurb, I done it for about 35,000. So that's probably like £150,000 in, maybe about that.
So you had that cash?
Yeah, I had some, and then I raised the rest.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, and so that was doing quite well. I was making 2K a month.
Yeah, profit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I suddenly realised that If I want to be a property millionaire in a year, if I want to be a net millionaire in a year, I can't wait for a BRR. Because buy, refurbish, refinance, which is basically doing a flip or adding value to a property that you're going to refinance and pull the money back. Yeah?
Yeah.
Takes time. And I've got 12 months to become a millionaire, right? How this BRR is not it.
Yeah.
So I had to start thinking creatively. And that's when I drew for the lease option agreement strategy. And within that time, I'd obtained 3 lease option agreements. So 2 of them were 10-bedroom HMOs, and the other was a 6-bedroom HMO.
All right,
And
so
each one gives about £2,000 a month profit.
That's amazing. And that is, I want to break that down now. So what is a lease option agreement?
Yeah. So a lease option agreement is when you purchase a property for today's price, but you give the money to the landlord in 5 to 7 years.
Okay, but why would I do that as a landlord? Why would I give you that time to, and not just sell it myself?
Yeah. So what you've got to understand and certainly for my landlords that I've purchased the property under a lease option with, is that the utilities are really expensive, okay? The interest rates are changing every single month. You know what I mean? Practically, it feels like anyway. Some of these landlords might have traditional mortgages that they've had from back in the day, and they might want to make sure that mortgage is brought down, like paid down, as long as it can be. Also, what you've got to understand is these big houses, they cost money to run. There's always a problem with the roof. There's always a problem with some pipes. There's always issues that you can be a multi-millionaire in your property portfolio and still not have enough money to fix some of the problems that occur when you own properties, because your money is in the property. It's not out of the property.
Yeah.
It's not in your pocket.
Yeah.
It's in the property, right? So for these landlords, they might not have £10,000-15,000 to invest. Do you know what I mean? To fix the problem.
Yeah.
So for them, you coming along and saying, look, I'm going to actually help you. I'm gonna do your house up. I'm gonna make it look amazing. And at the same time, I'm gonna give you cash flow every month. I'll give you £1,500 a month. And within that time, they're paying down their mortgage. So at the end of the day, you want to be a property entrepreneur. And a property entrepreneur is someone that goes out ethically and helps people. There's a lot of people that are, in particular in this season, that are going to be struggling, that are going to need your help. And lease option is one of the most gentlest way of doing it, because you can just say to them simply, look, I will make sure that your house is well looked after, and I will guarantee that you're going to get a sale for what you want, you know?
That's an amazing strategy that people don't talk about enough, I think.
They don't.
Especially when you're starting out. So you take it on so what do you agree with the landlord then, and how do you make money on that lease agreement?
So what I love in my lease option agreements, I usually go for houses that aren't already licensed. If there is a house that's a licensed HMO and it just needs work, then that's fine, of course. You can still negotiate a good deal, then do it up and add value. But I quite like to get a house that's not licensed, as long as it's not in an Article 4 area, and get it licensed. Because if the landlord's charging me £1,500 a month, and I license it into a 10-bedroom HMO, and I'm making £4,500, then I'm giving them £1,500, and I'm paying utilities £1,000 in this day and age. I know.
Crazy.
With council tax, of course. And you're left with £2,000 profit.
Wow. That's an amazing strategy. That's crazy.
It is.
And how many of those have you got, those agreements? And what's the best one making you?
I've got 3. And I would say they all kind of make the same, really. I would say, they all kind of make the same. There's one that's a bit more stronger than the others. Yeah. But they all kind of, because also you have the same problems, you know, if you've got boiler issues, plumbing issues.
Yeah.
There's maintenance. So they all kind of do really well.
That's sick. So I know, I'm trying to remember your story actually. I think you moved up to, is it Huddersfield?
Mm-hmm.
And you started like a new portfolio in Huddersfield, and I think Samuel was saying, oh, like she basically owned the whole area. Like, how did you start that little empire up north?
You've got to take a leap of faith and jump.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you do, you just have to go and do it. There's no. I think that the energy surrounding that time made me quite dominant in that area because I was packaging deals, selling deals in the area. So there was a lot of I was very dominating in that area, and I was obviously marketing, promoting, letting everyone know what I was doing. So yeah, I think that, you know, if you want to dominate an area, you just got to open your mouth and tell people what you're doing.
Were you by yourself?
My mum came up, and of course
You and
that's
your
with my little one. Yeah.
You, your mum, and you. Wow, that's crazy. And but you were using your own money.
Yeah, I'd raise more money from deal sourcing or whatever and throw it back into the next lease option and the next lease option, because I'd want to get it licensed and I'd want to get it compliant, and that cost money to get it to be at a certain standard. So
But I mean, that's so inspirational. I feel like we shouldn't gloss over that. You've moved to an area that you probably hadn't been before.
No, never.
Is it Huddersfield?
I mean, West Yorkshire.
West Yorkshire, completely different to London. Like, and you managed to hit the ground running and literally make a property portfolio empire. Like, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's massive. Wow. Okay.
It was definitely like a life-changing experience.
Yeah. Okay, and how much would you say you're making at the moment, like in terms of turnover from your property alone?
250,000 a year.
Wow. And what's the aspiration? What are you trying to achieve?
I think that it depends what strategy. I think at the moment I'm doing bigger projects. So I love cash flow.
Yeah.
I think it's important to focus on cash flow, but I'm also focused on like big chunks of money as well.
I like big chunks of money.
Yeah.
So.
Who doesn't like big chunks of money? So like, you know, making 250 grand or making 500,000, you know, that's, I never like to do the same thing twice. So if I've done something before, like I'll probably never do a HMO again, because I've got an 18-bedroom HMO in Coventry.
I used to go uni up there, actually.
Really?
It's a good place for HMOs. Well, it was.
Yeah, it's great.
It's
great.
Really
It rents itself half the time. People ask me for rooms. I'm like, okay, great. I haven't been up there since July last year. A year ago, actually. Wow, yeah. But it you know, it's 18 rooms. I rented out 18 rooms in 5 days.
Flip. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Students, yeah?
All different types of people. I don't care.
Crazy.
As long as you pay your rent.
That's sick. Oh, actually, I've got an idea that I was talking about students and stuff. Let me know what you think. So what I was thinking is, when you go to uni, term finishes probably like, I think, is it May? End of May? Them kind of times. Then you don't go back until around September. Yeah? So there's a gap for summer of like 3 to 4 months where there's a vacant property, yeah? Could you not set up like a rent-to-rent thing for student properties over the summer? Does that make sense? Like, you just focus on the 3 months where it's vacant and you work with landlords and do like a rent-to-rent strategy.
I mean, you could. I'm not that invested. Like, that's a bit too creative for me. No. Sounds exhausting.
Exhausting. It's a gap in the market, though. No
it is, and you should go for it. Let me know how it is.
You're making too much money, isn't it?
And look, I just like to be quite simple in my thinking.
Okay.
But if you've got time to dedicate to creativity in the area, it's totally different. We're in totally different spaces. You know what I mean? Like, you're single, well, like without a child, and you know, a guy as well, so you don't have to put makeup on, you don't have to like, you literally could just put your clothes on and leave the house. You don't have to
put makeup on, you can just rock
I
out.
know, but still. We do. I'm joking.
Oh, okay, cool.
But you can just go out and not care, just put a top on and trousers and just leave. You don't have to think about nails, eyelashes, you don't have to think about any of it. So you can really be very successful in a very short time. I mean, what I've achieved, you could achieve times 3, right? If your mindset is geared, you know, then you could achieve what I've achieved times 3.
Yeah.
Because you have 3 times the amount of time.
True. Yeah.
You know?
That's true. I mean, you're still smashing it and you're juggling a kid and...
The best. He's the best. He's just the best.
Yeah. How old is he?
He's 3. He's going to be 4.
3. Amazing.
Yeah. And I don't want to miss a thing.
Nah.
So 3 o'clock, when it's time to clock off, I got to clock off and I got to look at my boy and make sure I'm not missing anything, you know?
Is it hard juggling both or... Yeah?
It is. Yeah. It gets frustrating sometimes because you want to give them so much of yourself. But you also know that you've got your own dreams. And I'm not willing to be one of those mums that says, oh, I've got a kid now, so I can't do anything with my life. No way.
Yeah.
No way.
I hear that a lot, actually.
It's not happening.
I hear that a lot.
It's not happening.
I wouldn't say it's an excuse. I wouldn't say that, but you need to have both, isn't it? Because also for his future, you want him to have something to look forward to.
Absolutely. Like now he says, Mom, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 houses. And he, you know, and we went to the one in Queen's Park and I said, oh, Mummy, look, we've got another house. You know what I mean? And he walked into the house and he's like, oh, great, we've got another, you know, so in his psyche, it's all happening that he's living in a life of abundance. And at the end of the day, I think it's healthy for him to know that mum works, that, you know, but at the same time, I can take him on holiday. We can do beautiful things. I pick my son up from school every day. I drop him to school every day. I do not have to go to work. I do not have to go to an office. I get to take him to school. I get to pick him up. I get to take him to the park after school because everything's on my terms. If a client needs to call me in at 6 o'clock, you know, it's whether my son is happy with that or not. If you're bathed and you're ready for bed and you've had your food and you're comfortable and you're sitting on the sofa and you want to watch something at 6 o'clock in the evening, you know, for an hour before bed, then I might get on a call if I feel like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you need to call me between 9:15 and 3 p.m. and I'm all yours, apart from when I have to do yoga.
Yoga.
Which takes up so much time, but I have to do it.
Yeah?
I have to do it.
I've never done yoga in my life.
Oh my God, it will change your life.
Yeah?
It has to be Bikram yoga though.
That's the hot, yeah. What is it, like in a hot room?
Best experience of your life.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll try it.
It will really...
I'm so not flexible, like, I'm just mad stiff.
That's why you have to go.
Yeah, I need it. But when you get older, it will help you as well. Like.
Oh my God, yeah, it's great for mobility. It's good for spirituality as well, feeling like centered.
Yeah.
Like it's super important.
Big time. Okay, so I've got like a little challenge for you.
Oh wow.
Nothing crazy, innit? But basically, if you had to start again and you had, no money, what would be the process for you and what strategies would you pick to build up that first portfolio? Like what key strategies would you start off with for the audience?
How much do I have?
Say you've got £1,000 in your pocket.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the first thing I would do is invest in my education. Simple.
Yeah.
Because the moment you invest in your education, you've now put yourself in a room with other people that are doing the same thing. And if you're in a room with people that are doing the same thing and you're learning something, right? You're now learning the very thing that they want to know. So then what I would be doing is taking the numbers out of every single person in that room. And I would message them all individually saying, do you want to meet for a coffee? And then whomever wants to meet from the coffee out of the 100 people's numbers that you've got, because you better be collecting 100. Less than 50.
That's a lot of numbers.
No less than 50. No less than 50, right? You could speak to 50 people.
Numbers, not Instagrams, yeah?
Numbers.
Okay.
You could take their Instagram, but numbers. You need to call them.
Yeah.
You need to call them. You need to message them. You need to let them know who you are. You need to meet with them. You can even, you don't have to meet with them, but you can have a conversation on the phone with them and say, look, what are you looking for? Because I'm an expert.
Yeah.
Are you an expert?
No.
Not yet. But they don't know that.
Okay.
They've done just as much work as you've done in that course. You know what I mean? And you're going to become an expert. Often I see people say, oh my God, tell people, look, I'm time rich, but like I don't have any money. So I'm happy to find deals for you and you can joint venture with me. No one wants to hear that. Everyone wants to hear confidence. I don't want to hear that you're time rich. Tell me you're not time rich. Tell me you're unavailable.
Yeah.
Tell me what I want to hear. And if you've got 50 clients that you've gotten from a training course that you've invested in, you got 50 people, you got 50 clients, and each one of them you need to convince, look, what do you want? Make a note of it. What do you want? And find out what the main thing is. For example, everyone might want rent to SAs, or everyone might want rent to HMOs. So if, out of 50 people, 35 want rent to SAs, guess what you're going to be looking for?
Rent to SA.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you find it...
What is rent to SA?
So rent to SA is when you have like a rent to rent. So you basically essentially... you're like renting the property off of the landlord for a certain amount of time, ideally minimum 3 years.
Okay.
And instead of renting it out to an individual tenant, you are going to do it up a little bit and actually put it on platforms like booking.com, Airbnb, to rent it out as a serviced accommodation.
Okay, got it.
So if everybody wants that and you've got 35 people all looking for that in, particular areas, it's free for you to call an agent. It's free for you to go and view. You don't need any money. You just need a good deal. And if you're calling 100 agents a day and viewing 30 properties a week, you're going to find your deal real quick. It's a numbers game. It's like, how hungry are you? Are you willing to put in the work to make this happen? And you could easily go straight back to all 35 people and say, look, I've found the best one and come and view it. It's perfect. Why don't you drop the money and I'll look after it? Passive income for them. Or they might say to you, you know what? I just want it for myself. All right, I'll charge you £3,000 for it. Now you've just sourced a deal.
But I think also what's important is, like, you need to be confident when you're saying it. People need to believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
You can't go into it 50-50, like, I'm not really sure if it's a good deal. It's a good deal or it's not a good deal. And I feel like that confidence helps you convert.
It does, but that confidence only comes from action.
It's true.
Like... I wasn't confident when I first started calling people in the middle of Yorkshire where I literally had sheep for friends. Like, I wasn't confident, but after the 10th call, I was. And like I said, I made 100 calls in one day.
That's a lot of calls. Let's underestimate.
Yeah, well, it is a lot of calls. Yeah. But if you actually calculate how much time there is in an hour, then you could easily do 100 calls in 4 hours. 4 hours. Just do like the pursuit of happiness. Like, how hungry are you? Like, look, this thing ain't gonna come to you. It's not gonna knock on your door. Money is not gonna go knock, knock, knock. Hey, I know you wanted me, so I thought I'd present myself to you. Like, it's you gotta take what's yours. You have to take it. No one's giving you anything.
That's so true.
You got to break down. And that's laws of attraction. Ask and it is given. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. It doesn't say, don't seek, but it will find you. It doesn't say that. You got to seek it out. And then you'll find it. You'll find the treasure. But you got to take massive action.
Yeah. And I think what I found is that when you take the action, opportunities start appearing.
Oh my God.
When you start pushing,
that's
things
right.
happening, like doors start opening.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
100%. And that's where the laws of attraction, the universe aspect comes into play, because it's like, this is why I believe that there's something vibrating on a whole nother level outside of myself and a divine entity, because that's exactly it. I'll take massive action. That won't materialize, but then I'll bump into someone randomly who has the very thing that I've been trying to seek.
And it's never the person you expect as well.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
No, ever.
Yeah.
And it comes in a way where you're like, wow, that just happened.
Yeah. Okay, so you've got your network of investors and you've raised a bit of cash. Do I go into buying somewhere, or do I go into doing like a rent to rent?
It's up to you. I think that you want to really be in a position where you are doing, like, you're doing as much as you can to gain knowledge on the property industry. And I would say if you want to be a developer, if you want to eventually buy houses and build blocks and put together estates, I mean, I don't know how big your dreams are, right? But there are no limits. The sky is not even the limit anymore.
One of our guests actually did a rent-to-rent on a block of apartments.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
Absolutely.
you know Troy. He's one of Samuel Leeds students. A whole block of apartments. He did 14 rent-to-rents.
That's right.
Crazy.
That's right. No, but that's right.
Mad.
It's very, very possible. I've had a couple come on my lap. You know what I mean? In London.
Yeah.
Blocks of 12, blocks
Wow.
of, 18 and stuff like that. And when you, like, in my experience, I've rented out 18 rooms in 5 days. So a block of 20 flats, that's not going to scare me. Because rooms are harder to rent than flats. I'll get that done in a week.
What's
you know
your
what I
best
mean?
rent-to-rent done, like, in terms of numbers?
I think it's this one. I think it's the 18. Because that one, the 18-bedroom HMO is my only rent-to-rent.
Where is that?
Coventry.
Coventry. Wow. But you said it was stressful, no? Or it's easy to deal with?
I haven't been there since July, but
Flip.
they're all stressful in somewhat, They're all demanding, You have a lot of tenants and they ask a lot of questions. So.
Yeah.
But I have WhatsApp groups and I will always pay one tenant less than the rest to manage everyone else.
So I was looking at the rent-to-rent when I did Samuel Leeds' course, and I found that in London it's really difficult because of the 90-day rule. And also I didn't want to become like a property manager. I felt like I was almost having like another job. I didn't actually start doing it, but is that what it's like?
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's very time-consuming.
Yeah. I think essays are very time-consuming. I personally have done it in the past. It's not something that I am massively strong on. HMOs I love because HMOs are the language of development. You've got to learn about fire risk assessments and licensing, and you've got to learn things about, EPC ratings and, certifications, which sounds really boring, I know.
Sounds so boring.
I know. But when you know what you're doing, it's the same language as building a whole house.
Yeah.
So, it's a great way to understand on a deeper level how to invest in the property industry.
Okay, cool. So what's your favourite strategy so far? Well, HMOs, yeah? Is your favourite?
I would say HMOs are one of the most, cash positive. My favourite strategy is lease option.
Okay.
HMO or lease option development, which is what I've just done now with this house in Queen's Park.
Wow.
So it's like I feel like I'm in a place where I'm so confident in my ability to serve my clients, serve the landlords, and give them the best possible experience, with me.
Yeah.
That I don't think I'll ever buy a house without having time to make sure that when I purchase it, it's all done in the right way. I think for me, gone are the days that I just buy a house and then figure out what I'm doing afterwards. Like I have to know.
Yeah.
Does it have planning?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Is it really going to make money? I need time. So I think I'll always negotiate with the landlord saying, look, give me time. I'll give you a little bit of money up front, but give me time to get all my ducks in a line.
Yeah, that's true. And just looking at the current economic environment, I think Warren Buffett said buy when people are fearful.
Yes.
So I agree with
that big grin on my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's now what should people do now then? The market's mad. What opportunities do you see today?
Loads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
HMOs.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to kill, I think, the HMO market with the whole utilities being so high and stuff like that. I think it is harder to make income, whether you're doing a rent-to-rent, rent-to-SA, HMO. They really,
Crazy.
Yeah. I've spoken to so many people that are like, my portfolio is not performing.
It's mad.
Because if if you're paying an extra £800 on utilities, that would have been your profit.
Crazy,
It's a massive difference, you know.
Yeah.
It's almost splitting your profit in half in some cases, and maybe wiping your profit out completely in others. So I do feel that there is a struggle there in this area. So I think that really in this market, we really need to be adding value to houses. And I think if you were to rewind every single thing that I've told you about what you should do, you'll know that everything that I'm talking about is about adding value. A lease option, that's a single let that you're going to do up and change into a HMO, you're adding value. So you're benefiting from the capital appreciation, but you're also benefiting from a higher cash flow because you're not buying an already ready HMO. Because everyone knows the value of an already ready HMO. If a landlord is giving you an already ready HMO...
Why are you laughing?
I'm sorry, an already ready HMO.
This is staying in.
Stop. Oh, God.
No, it's good.
An already ready HMO.
Ready.
Then they're going to charge you premium.
True.
They're going to charge you £3,000 instead of £1,500 that you'll get from someone that's giving you a single let.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean?
It's true.
So adding value. BRRs, buy, refurbish, refinance, adding value. You know, this particular property in Queen's Park is like a pinch me moment. It's such a beautiful opportunity to take a house that's run down, that's worth £1 million, and make it be worth 1.6 million.
Crazy. And you're going to rent it out, yeah? Or sell it?
Whatever.
Mad.
You know, whatever.
Because I was saying the rental market is... Not the rental market, the buyer market is mad at the moment. So I was looking at the stats, and apparently the average house in London is 523k, over 500, over £500,000. The average salary is £36,000. So to buy the average home, you need to earn over six figures and be in the top 10% in the UK. It's no one can buy anything, so everyone's renting. Even renting is mad because people are bidding to rent a normal property in their area. So I think that the market now is so crazy for first-time buyers. These strategies help them get started.
Definitely. And this is why, as a property entrepreneur, you know, we've got to let people know what these strategies are, right? Because I'm like, no, you can.
Yeah.
That's how I'm thinking. No, you can buy. You know, yes, you got to be more creative, but you actually can. You know, in some cases... you know, there are 100% mortgages out there. There are, if you build your credibility to be, you know, really, really strong, there's so much that you can actually leverage off of. You got to understand your credit. You got to understand how the lending market lends. You know, so... Yes, I understand that for, you know, a traditional job and a regular job of, you know, but look.
So these are just the struggles that people are facing. Basically.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
But you've got to create your own economy.
It's true.
You have to create your own economy. That is what everything's pushing you towards, is realizing that you cannot depend on somebody else to fill your pocket because they've told you that you've got a job. You have to start to stand up and rise up and actually take control over your life. And the way that you've got to do that is be creative. Look, there's absolutely no reason. I've come from living in a council house. I've come from living in hostels when I was 16 years old. I don't come from money. No one handed me anything to start my property, career. When I did my rent to rent in Kentish Town, my son was a few months old and I was there building beds with him, like on my lap, you know what I mean? So there's no reason why you can't achieve your goals. You just have to start. And don't do the same thing twice. Keep growing every single time and leveraging and building your credibility. Like, you can be extremely rich or extremely successful in any area you put your mind to.
That's true, yeah.
So if you feel that, oh, you know, house prices have increased and salaries are decreased and gas has gone up and yeah, it has. What are you going to do about it? Because they're not going to bring it down. They're not going to bring it down. So what are you going to do about it? Are you going to fight? Are you going to fight? Are you going to have the good fight of faith and stand up and make it happen for yourself? Work day and night. Listen, 2.5 years I have spent and I've become a property multimillionaire. My portfolio is worth over £3 million. My network, I ended up succeeding at the task that was given to me within 2 years. And my net worth is over £1 million. You know what I mean? That's 2.5 years worth of work with a child. So what are you going to do about it?
There's no excuses. So,
no, there isn't.
Yeah. And
There's just educating yourself and knowing exactly what to do.
That's it. And I think finding the right mentor as well.
For sure.
Someone that's done it before. Because you're not going to know the answers just out of thin air. You have to find someone that has done it.
Yes, absolutely.
Literally. Yeah. Okay, cool. So, like, what is your future plan? What's your aspirations in the next 5 years? Where are you trying to get to? Or are you happy at your level now?
I'm happy at every level because it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And it's not about the assets, it's about who you become. So I'm really content with who I am today. And I have massive visions that I wouldn't disclose because some things are private, you know, between me and God or me and the universe, of like what my intentions are, but they're all there and they're very clear, and I know that they're going to manifest just like I knew this journey would manifest for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However, my main passion right now is other people. I'm full. I have the passive income of my dreams. I have the houses of my dreams, the projects of my dreams. I've made it. If I want to sit back in 10 years, I will be worth 6 million without even trying. That could be me falling asleep for the next 10 years.
That's good.
I'm done. I'm good, right? I'm not done. But I'm good.
The tax man's listening, by the way. He's going to come take all that money.
God forbid I make more money than the tax man.
Exactly.
So, you know, my job right now and what I feel is right is other people, is connecting with other people and showing them how to do the very thing that I've achieved and so much more. So I'm all about the people right now.
That's amazing, because a lot of people get to where they are and they put like an invisible wall in front of them. They don't want to help anybody. And we're seeing it now because we do street interviews. And a lot of the elites guard themselves behind members clubs.
Stop.
Private places you can't get into. They don't want to speak to you. They click like...
Oh, really?
A lot of people do, not everyone.
Okay.
So it's good that when you make it, to put your hand out and help other people to come up.
Absolutely. I mean, what's the point? I don't see the point. There's not a shortage of anything. There's more than enough in the world. More than enough. There's more than enough money. There's too much money in the world to ever be broke, you know.
Exactly.
It's like a no-brainer, you know.
Yeah.
So, look, I love people. I speak to, I've got loads of clients, loads of people that are coming down to my property and viewing it and having a look to see what I'm doing and how I'm going to make it into a luxury family dwelling, and how I ended up raising £1.2 million. And, you know, I'm teaching everybody how to raise funds and buy houses without using their own money, which is a lot of what I've spoken to you about today.
Yeah.
It's too easy. You know, it's challenging, but it's absolutely possible. You just got to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And that's what I want people to understand. My job is to allow people to feel like they can do anything that they put their mind to. That's my job.
Empowering people.
100%.
Yeah, and that's way more fulfilling than the millions that you might make.
It's just a house.
Yeah, literally.
It's not going to do anything for you.
Yeah. Have you got any like little takeaways people can have? So like good areas that you've seen to invest in, or any little practical things people can take with them?
So I think that it depends where you're at, but I think everywhere's a good area to invest
True,
in, to be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Like, I don't, like, we're kind of good in the UK, you know what I mean? Like, even in the most remote areas, they're still kind of going up, you know what I mean? So I think, just make sure that when you look for the area, like, that it's not a rough area. Because trust me, when you go outside of London, believe it or not, there are some really rough areas up north. There really are. And someone will damage your car or,
I feel like you've had that in the past.
Yeah,
Like.
not in my car. Well,
No, you been alright?
yeah, kind of. Kind of. But yeah, so there's like, I would say there are like, there's areas that if you get the tenants in, they might not pay your rent.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it's always in those areas that are the cheapest houses and are the, like, there's a reason for that, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, I would say
basically check the crime rates, and if it's
check the crime rates, exactly, and have conversations with your tenants and make sure that you get 2-3 months bank statements, 2-3 months pay slips, so you can see that they can actually afford to pay.
Yeah, nice, amazing. Okay, just to wrap it up, where can people find you? Do you have like a course or mentorship for people that they can get a bit more value after this?
Absolutely. So my name's Jael Spooner. You can absolutely follow me on Instagram and private message me anytime. My website is called dreamkeysource.com.
Okay.
And if you want to know more about my course, then you can subscribe to my mailing list. I will personally give you a call and assess to see, if the course is right for you, and if you're ready to, really and truly ready for the journey, because you got to be ready. Right, you've got to be hungry, and I want to be able to truly like bring that out of you and push you and navigate you. I'm going to give you the map, but you've got to walk down the road. You know what I mean? So, so when you do subscribe, you'll have a conversation with me, maybe a Zoom.
Is that a free subscription? Just
it's completely free.
Amazing. That's good. Perfect. Listen, guys, I think that was amazing. We had at least 3 amazing strategies you could start with today. Make sure you reach out to Jael, and we'll have all the links below for her subscription. And get started in property now. Now's the time. We'll see you in the next one.